Good afternoon, everyone. It is, again, Wellness Wednesday. That is an alliteration for you teachers out there. You know that. And we are here again. I don't have a mouse in my pocket, but I am here again with Dr. Fawn at Fresh Start Chiropractic. I got it this time. And we're going to be talking about shoulders. And for those of you that have followed me for any length of time, know that several years ago, this is part of my story, I had to have shoulder surgery. Sometimes I can't say that, so I had to slow it down. And what happened was I had had an old injury that was, I guess, aggravated. And when I went to see my orthopedic surgeon, who was my orthopedic doctor at the time, basically I had some calcium deposits that he had no reason he could not give me a reason why they were there. And so with wear and tear and everything that I was doing, which at the time it was just dance fitness, I had aggravated it so much that he thought he saw a tear and he thought he was going to have to cut my rotator cuff to get to the calcium deposit. So I was like, yuck. And so he gave me a cortisone shot, and that made it feel better for a while. And if you ever have to have that happen, or if that's the place that you go, listen to your doctor when he says, don't do because I didn't.
Because all it does is cover up the pain. It doesn't fix anything.
I waited 2 weeks, I think, and I taught one class, and I severely modified as much as I can. And the next morning, I had a frozen shoulder.
Oh.
Yeah. So if those of you that don't know what a frozen shoulder is, you can't move it, and it's very painful. And so I had about that much. That's all I could do. So I went back to see him, and of course he was not very happy with me, and he tried to force it to go, and it would only get to here. Ouch. And so if you've never had that happen where you couldn't move a joint, it's hard to understand that you really can't move it. It's like it's locked. There's so much inflammation and pain that I probably would have passed out if he would have tried to move it the rest. So long story short, I had to have surgery to correct some things that were going on in there. And during that time, I did exercises and I ate differently. It wasn't what I do now, but I did eat differently during that time because someone had told me about inflammation. So, right now it's pretty good. So, awesome. But we're going to talk about shoulder pain because of some of the clients that I have, they're experiencing some shoulder pain. Or if you are experiencing shoulder pain, wake up in the morning, your hands are tingly. I have that still every once in a while. So I know there's still some things going on. So Dr. Fawn is going to give us some information about shoulder pain today and how to ease it.
So yeah, shoulders are probably my least favorite thing to deal with in the office, just because there can be so many complicating factors in them. Our shoulder is a pretty complex joint. All the muscles that come out of your shoulder come down across and onto the top of your arm. So a lot of people with shoulder pain actually have pain in the top of their arm. But some people will also say, oh, my pain hurts back here, and they call that their shoulder. Technically, that's a neck problem, and we'll talk about that a different day. But when it hurts into the top of the joint and down into your arm, you pretty much can guarantee that you've hurt your shoulder. And of course, the very first thing I tell my patients when I do some tests is a lot of the muscles that are involved in that are your rotator cuff. And as soon as I say that word, they automatically think, oh my gosh, I have to have surgery. That's not the case. Your rotator cuff is just a muscle, and you can pull it just like you can pull any other muscle. A lot of overhead things that we do are a very good way to hurt it. Any type of a twisting motion can hurt it. So the biggest thing, again, just like when we were talking about elbows last week, catching it early is the best thing that you can do. I always go back to, as you're going to see the theme, icing and resting and stretching. But shoulders have a unique component, and Lori actually already touched on it a little bit. You can't rest too much with a shoulder. You can't just, a lot of people think, oh, my shoulder hurts, let's sling it or hold it to my side. Well, remember, inflammation is in there. And your shoulder muscles are what make your arm move. So if they're stuck in one position and you can't move them, you're going to wake up one day and be like, oh darn, I can't move my arm, and that is frozen shoulder.
Literally, I could not move it. I mean, my husband even thought I was crazy, but you could, but it was such excruciating pain that there was just no way, and it really didn't feel like I could actually move it any further. It felt locked in place. So, and the motion, I just wanted to share the motion that was the most painful for me, that I knew that there was something starting, is when I was making my bed. And I would just take a sheet. Now, you know a sheet, it doesn't weigh anything. And you know how you fluff it? Well, I fluff it. I fluff it up to get air under it so it helps to flatten it out. Right to the floor. It was like, I mean, the injury, I don't know, it was just starting to feel ouchy, and that's why I went to see him. And I didn't know you then, or else I would have probably come here and it would have been a total different story and 3 less scars. But scars build character, so.
Exactly.
Anyway.
And she lived to tell about it, and now we learn from her mistakes, right? So, so first of all, so if you feel any type of an injury, or a twinge or anything, you're always safe to ice it. 15 to 20 minutes at a time, as long as you leave it off for an hour in between. You can ice it as much as you need to. And then the stretches are a little tricky. Can we go through?
Yeah,
can you see me at the wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just turn it.
The best thing I can tell everybody to do is called a wall walk. Somebody's coming in.
That's right. Oh, it's all good. Sorry, guys. We're so excited we're knocking the camera over.
So wall walks are the best way to actually stretch your arms. So the 2 main ranges of motion that you want to do are forward and to the side. You also, sometimes backwards is a little bit iffy too, but the best thing you can do is go to a wall, and that's why you do this on a wall for a reason, and I'll tell you why. But you want to first just walk up the wall as far as you can. When it starts to hurt, you don't have to push it. Just stop to where it's, not too much. And then the idea is, today I can get to here. Tomorrow I either want to get to here or higher. If I start to only get to here, then I worry that the whole frozen shoulder thing is happening. So no weights in your hands, no nothing. Just simple walking up the wall forward. Then you want to go this way, and you can even go backwards if you want. But you have a message on the machine?
Oh,
sorry, I don't know if that's important or not. But so those are the best things. Everybody always wants to jump right into, well, what if I use weights? What if I... No, there's a difference between stretching your shoulder and exercising your shoulder. Stretching your shoulder is simply keeping it loose and keeping it moving. That's the biggest thing. As soon as you add a weight, you are now working that muscle instead of stretching it, and that's the last thing you want to do when you're hurting. So just ice, stretch, and then I'm going to show you one more thing on Lori's good bad shoulder now. So
I've had one shot over and this one was the one that I actually originally hurt, and I'll just tell real quick. Somebody challenged me to something in a pool. I was on a raft. Well, he was on a raft, and he's like, you can get me off the raft. If you know me at all, don't challenge me, because I'm going to try it. So I went up underneath the raft underwater, and that's the motion that I did. I just pushed him off. He wasn't like, a ton. And instantly, it was done. So that the calcium deposit, which I didn't know I had, damaged my bursa. And so that was the first time. That was the first time. But the shot was all I needed then, and I rested because then I listened.
And just a note about steroid shots.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes my patients are in so much pain, like, I won't begrudge them going to get one. Now, the idea of that is they take a big dose of steroids, which are anti-inflammatory, and they shove it right in the joint or in the muscle, wherever they're having the pain. And that's fine sometimes, as long as it's just an acute swelling. But a lot of times you'll see people going back every 3 months just to get a shot. Well, that tells me 2 things. One, they're not really healing. Nothing has gotten fixed. They're just covering up the pain. And when you can't feel the pain and you do something that you shouldn't do, it just hurts you more, but you can't feel it. So in the long run, you hurt yourself more. And 2, the more steroids you get, steroids actually break down your joint. So people that get multiple rounds tend to have different problems down the road, and they wish they hadn't done that. So
I didn't know that.
That's just the chiropractic standpoint on steroid shots. But like I said, sometimes it's just so swollen. If they go in and get 1 dose, it's not the end of the world, but I still don't love them. I think ice and rest and stretching and good diet can help with the inflammation in your body.
We keep coming back to that. There's got to be a theme here somewhere.
I'm going to grab some stuff here. Now, so a lot of people, like I described before, that a lot of people think a sling for a shoulder because you want to not move it, you want to not use it. That's not really the case. You want to be able to move it, but you want it to be supported. So there's a very simple way to tape your shoulder so that you can actually lift it up a little bit and take the pressure off all those muscles in your shoulder joint until you get healed. So it still doesn't give you a reason to go do everything 100%. If you're trying to get back into things and you want a little support, this is the way to do it. So what you do is you take your first piece of tape, and it's a little longer than the other one, and I'll show you. The first piece is designed to pull your shoulder backwards. So you put it in the front up here. Lori is so skinny, I have bones to connect it to. So you put the first piece, you anchor it on the chest. Then you're going to pull, because remember this tape is really stretchy, you're going to pull it all the way around, and you're going to anchor it right in the back of her shoulder blade.
So when I get all wrapped up, I want to go somewhere and get some sympathy. I don't know who from, but.
So this first piece, she'll tell you, it just pulls her shoulder backwards a little bit. So that's the first part, pulling it backwards. The next part is taking it and lifting it up a little bit. Okay. So what we do with that is we take another piece, and again, carefully, because remember this is bouncy tape. And
yeah, it is, and it's not easy to get apart. It's like Saran wrap. Like there's just might as well throw it away.
So you anchor the first piece down about in the middle of her arm, and then you're just going to pull it as hard as much as you can, and you're going to pull it upwards. And then the anchor. She must have lotion on or something.
I do. Yeah, you have to do this with, believe me, I've learned, no lotion on your skin. You have to have clean, dry skin, or it'll stick, but it won't stay for long. You really want it to stay on for a period of time.
Yeah, ideally you could clean your skin with alcohol or something to clean it off first. But, so it's this nifty, that's all there is to it. It's pulled backwards and it's pulled upwards. And that's all she'll tell you. It's just kind of pulling her arm up.
I think I might need to do it on the other side to pull it out.
And that
posture
gives you the little bit of support. So now it's like a sling, but it's a movable sling. So you can move your arm and not worry about freezing your shoulder. So, and again, when in my office we do, we can adjust your shoulder. We have the cold laser, which helps with inflammation. I've seen a lot of massages help a lot of those shoulder muscles around your joint. So all sorts of things that we can do, but by all means, shoulders are complicated. So if it doesn't heal after a reasonable amount of time, then we got to go get some pictures and see what's going on. But usually, if you catch it early and you get it to calm down, you can stop it before anything bad happens.
Okay, good. Now, I remember when this happened, and my doctor was thinking he was going to have to totally cut me open big time, and I was terrified. So of course, I went to the Google. And started researching different, alternative things. And there were some exercises that I found. So I just want your opinion on some of these exercises. Okay. Because I've recommended them to some people, but I don't want to if it's going to further injure. Because it didn't injure me, but I know everybody is different and every body is different. So basically one of the exercises that I saw was you just let your shoulder, I'm going to do it with this one since you have this all wrapped. You just let it hang and you use your body to let it turn in a circle. And I would go 10 rotations one way without moving it, like my body moved it, and then I did it the other way.
Yep, that's fine.
And the other one was just shoulder shrugs, which I thought was really interesting. Just shrugging it up.
Okay, that's okay as long as it's not painful.
Right, right.
Because that actually technically is an exercise.
Right. Oh yeah, you are using the muscle too.
But as you get better, you can start to, you can start to add weight to this technology.
Don't people realize I'm on live on Wednesdays? Oh, I think it was a telemarketer. I definitely am not going to call him back. But anyway, so my shoulder feels really good right now. That's all I can say.
So yeah, so that's how you take care of the beginnings of a shoulder injury. If there's actually anything in a patient, there's a whole bunch of tests I can do to give you an idea of exactly what's going on. But this would be what I'd tell anybody to do right off the bat when they say, "Ooh, my shoulder hurts."
So what if they already are to the point where they didn't go to a medical doctor and they didn't see our video and their shoulder's to the point where it's frozen? What can they do? Because I know it was tears.
There's a lot of different ways that they unfreeze shoulders depending on how bad it is. We have some physical therapists in our group that can tell you that they can do it, and that's kind of it's painful, but I think they do it pretty gradually, so they'll put you through some painful stuff to kind of get it to move, if you can hack that. Some doctors will literally put you under anesthesia and yank your shoulder back into place. So you just don't want to get to that point. But if you do, you probably definitely need some intervention, because you can't really do it yourself when it's that stuck.
Right. And I'd used a TENS unit at one point too, and that didn't give me any relief.
No.
I think it was to the point where it was just I needed.
Frozen shoulder is literally the muscles are sticking together, the muscle layers and the muscle, the different types of muscles, because the rotator cuff is 4 different muscles, plus there's other muscles in there, and they just stick together like glue. And it's a process to tear them apart again once they've kind of fused. So you can't really do that on your own. Once you're physically stuck, you should seek some attention from a medical professional so they know what to do with you. So.
Well, thank you, Dr. Fun, for that. That's wonderful, and I will remember, because I still, every once in a while, I mean, this shoulder is fine now, and I think with my change in lifestyle, with the exercises that I do, and definitely because of the nutrition that I have changed, I don't have any problems with this shoulder at all, and I shouldn't, because it's been medically, well, I don't know, because he told me that when I injure, I calcify immediately, and he doesn't know why. Like, that's the part of my body. But thinking back now, I didn't eat the way I ate then, so I'm wondering if that had anything to do with the calcium deposits that I was having.
Possibly. Probably does.
Possibly. We don't know. But this shoulder, I did have the same kinds of issues, but it was never as bad as my right. And every once in a while, it just gets sore. That's all. But I have been resting, and I know now that I have to do that. I have to take that time off to ice my arms or my legs or whatever other part of my body is aching at that moment, and take a break. And so it's not about forcing and pushing your body. If you are eating well, it usually corrects itself in a sense.
Yeah,
but
faster than most.
Yeah, that's what our body does. It's supposed to heal ourselves. But anyway. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. If you know of anyone that's suffering from shoulder pain or any other kind of joint pain, please feel free to share this video with them, and they can contact Dr. Fawn at...
I'm at 565 McElhatton Drive in McElhatton, and my phone number is 748-3590.
Yeah, and she would love to see you. If you call, mention that you saw our video so that she knows that you are paying attention.
Yeah, right? We love that.
All right, guys? Thanks so much. And if there's any other things that you want us to talk about on Wellness Wednesday, we have a list of a couple things that we're working on. So, and some of them get a little bit challenging. I know the next challenging one, isn't it?
Knees are challenging. Knees and necks. And I don't know what we've missed yet, but if you have any ideas, let us know. I'm sure we can hit it. So we were going to talk about allergies. And
allergies
all
and
that
asthma
stuff coming
too. Yeah,
in the fall, so maybe we'll hit that.
Yeah, I had a student today. That I think she sneezed at least 20 times. Aww. And then talking to her parents, she has some allergies. So, so definitely tune in for that one, because it's coming. Yeah, it's coming, the fall season. So, thanks guys for tuning in, and we will see you next Wednesday. Bye.